thermodynamic cycles were defined in second law of thermodynamics as sequence of thermodynamic processes in which the initial state is the same as the final state. Thermodynamic cycles can be classified based on the output of the cycles as power cycles, where output is the net positive work, or refrigeration or heat pump cycles, where output is the reduced temperature in a closed space. Thermodynamic cycles have been classified in power cycles and refrigeration cycles. Here we are going to discuss the power cycles only. The device that converts heat into work is called a heat engine, and the substance to which and from which heat is transferred is called a working substance or working fluid. The heat engine is defined as a device that operates in a thermodynamic cycle and does a certain amount of net positive work through transfer of heat from a heat source and rejects it to the heat sink. This is what has been done in second law of thermodynamics, the Kelvin-Planck statement, and it says that a heat engine is a device that operates in a thermodynamic cycle, draws heat from a heat source and does certain amount of positive work and rejects some of it to the heat sink. This is the basic of a heat engine, and all thermodynamic cycles, all heat power cycles, they work on the principle of this particular law, the Kelvin-Planck statement. The power cycles can be further classified into two categories based upon the working substance used in the cycle as number one, the gas power cycles, which use a perfect gas or air for converting heat into work. No change of phase of working substance during the process takes place, and the examples are air. The vapor power cycles, they use a working substance which undergoes changes of phase during the cycle, such as water and steam. Part of the cycle it is in the liquid state, part of the cycle it is in the vapor state. Here in this particular talk we are talking about the gas power cycles only, the air standard cycles. In gas power cycles, working fluid remains a gas throughout the entire cycle. In all engines, energy is provided by combustion of fuel within the system boundaries, and as such the properties of working fluid would change during the cycle. The system works at high speed and very little time is allowed for the processes. Presence of irreversibilities like friction, etc. The working fluid is mixture of air and fuel, and properties of this working fluid are changing from one point to the other point during the cycle. The parameters, these parameters as described above have they make the cycle complex, and to make analysis simple, certain assumptions are needed to remove these complexities, and these cycles are called air standard cycles or ideal cycles. The assumptions that are required to be made in gas power cycles or the air standard cycles are: the working substance is air or a perfect gas. All processes are quasi-static. The cycle does not involve any irreversibilities like friction, combustion, etc. The mass of air in the cycle is fixed, and cycle is a closed cycle, and kinetic and potential energies are neglected. The combustion process is replaced by heat addition process, and the exhaust process is replaced by heat rejection process. The gas power cycles use reciprocating engines as the prime movers. These engines are basically a piston cylinder mechanism and are invariably used in all automobiles, DG sets and similar applications. The relevant terms used in reciprocating engines are the diameter of the cylinder, all reciprocating engines, they are a cylinder and piston arrangement, and all these engines, they use certain definitions. When the piston is at the outermost position, it is known as outer dead center or bottom dead center, and when it is at the topmost position, it is known as top dead center or inner dead center. The space between the cylinder and the piston at the inner dead center position is known as clearance volume, and when the piston moves from ODC to IDC, the volume displaced is known as the swept volume. Diameter of the cylinder is known as bore, and the distance that it covers from moving from outer dead center to inner dead center is known as stroke. The compression ratio is defined as the ratio of the total volume cylinder to the clearance space. The compression ratio is equal to Vs plus Vc divided by Vc, and the mean effective pressure is the hypothetical pressure which would produce the same work if it acted on the piston during the power stroke. Work done per cycle is defined as the mean effective pressure multiplied by piston area multiplied by stroke PMLA, and work ratio is the net work divided by the positive work. Then the cycles, we come to the cycles. All the reciprocating engines, they are the basis for petrol engines, diesel engines, etc. And the petrol engines, they work on Otto cycles or the constant volume cycle. It is composed of 4 internally reversible processes, 2 isentropic and 2 constant volume. In this diagram, this point 1 is the outer dead center. From piston moves from 1 to 2, and this is the compression stroke. It is isentropic compression process. At 2, the heat is supplied at constant volume 2 to 3. 3 to 4, the expansion takes place isentropically, and 4 to 1, the heat rejection takes place at constant volume. The cycle has been shown here. This is the piston at outer dead center position. It moves in up to the inner dead center, and that is process 1, 2 isentropic compression process. When the piston is at top dead center, heat is added instantaneously, the volume remains constant, pressure and temperature they increase, and the process moves from 2 to 3. Once the heat has been added, the piston starts moving again outside from inner dead center to outer dead center, and the process is isentropic expansion process from 3 to 4. And at 4, when the piston reaches the outer dead center here, the heat is rejected instantaneously, volume remains constant, and the cycle is completed. The condition of the working fluid at end of the cycle is same as the condition of the fluid when the cycle started, that is, it reaches point 1, and that forms a constant volume cycle or Otto cycle. All petrol engines, they are based on this particular cycle. The analysis has been done here. Otto cycle is executed in a closed system, and the total work done, heat minus work done, is change in internal energy. The heat is added during process 2, 3, and that is equal to Cv into T3 minus T2. T3 minus T2 multiplied by Cv for a unit mass, that is the heat supplied, and heat rejected for the unit mass is T4 minus T1 into Cv, that is the Q out, and therefore the net work done being difference of the two, Q in minus Q out, divided by the heat supplied, that is the efficiency of the Otto cycle, that is Cv into T3 minus T2 minus Cv into T4 minus T1 divided by Cv into T3 minus T2. This can be simplified. T3 minus T2, they cancel away from the denominator and numerator, and it becomes 1 minus T4 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2, or we can write it 1 minus T1 into T4 by T1 minus 1 divided by T2 into T3 by T2 minus 1. Now, from the earlier diagram, we can say that T3 by T2 is V2 by V1 raised to power gamma minus 1. We know that the gas equation says that P1 V1 divided by T1 is equal to P2 V2 divided by T2, and for an isentropic process P1 V1 raised to power gamma is equal to P2 V2 raised to power gamma. If we eliminate pressures, we will get a relation between V and T, and that relation has been shown here as T1 by T2 equal to V2 by V1 raised to power gamma minus 1, and the same thing V3 by V4 raised to power gamma minus 1 equal to T4 by T3. V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4, because V2 is equal to V3 and V4 is equal to V1. We can write that V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4, and therefore T1 by T2 will be equal to T4 by T3. Substituting this, we get the efficiency. In this equation, we can write T4 is equal to T4 by T1 minus 1 is equal to T3 by T2 minus 1, and therefore the final expression for efficiency becomes 1 minus T1 by T2, or 1 minus 1 upon R raised to power gamma minus 1. This is the efficiency of an Otto cycle. The efficiency of Otto cycle depends on the compression ratio only. We can see that efficiency depends only on the compression ratio and ratio of specific heats, gamma, ratio of specific heats of the working substance only. And the efficiency will increase as the compression ratio increases. If R increases, 1 by R decreases, and 1 minus 1 by R would increase. So, higher is the compression ratio, higher will be the thermal efficiency of an Otto cycle. The mean effective pressure can also be calculated. It is defined as the ratio of work done to the displacement volume, and work done has been work is being done during process 3-4, and it is being consumed during process 1-2. So, work done during process 3-4 is P3 V3 minus P4 V4 minus divided by gamma minus 1, minus the work of compression is P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by gamma minus 1, and this total work done, net work done divided by V1 minus V2 is the mean effective pressure for Otto cycle. Next cycle is the diesel cycle or a constant pressure cycle. In Otto cycle, the heat addition was at constant volume, whereas slight modification has been done in diesel cycle and the heat addition takes place at constant pressure. This has been shown here. The 1 to 2 is the compression, isentropic compression of the working fluid. 2 to 3 is addition of heat at constant. 2 to 3 is addition of heat at constant pressure. 3 to 4 the heat is the working fluid expands isentropically, and 4 to 1 is the rejection of heat as shown here. 1 to isentropic compression, 2 3 constant pressure heat addition, 3 4 isentropic expansion, and 4 1 is constant volume heat rejection. Now in this process heat is added at constant pressure, and therefore heat supplied would be Cp into T3 minus T2. This is clear. The heat is supplied from 2 to 3, and this being a constant pressure process, heat supplied would be Cp into T3 minus T2, and heat rejected here during constant volume process would be equal to Cv into T4 minus T1. This is heat rejected, T4 minus T1 multiplied by Cv, and therefore the net work done from first law of thermodynamics is equal to Q in minus Q out, and that we can write as Cp T3 minus T2 minus Cv T4 minus T1, and therefore efficiency would be work done divided by the heat supplied Cp T3 minus T2. This is Cp T3 minus T2 minus Cv T4 minus T1 divided by Cp T1 minus T3 minus T2. We can write this as 1 minus T4 minus T3 divided by gamma T3 minus T2, Cp Cv. So if we divide it, we get gamma into T3 minus T2. Now T2 and T1, this is an isentropic process 1 to 2, and therefore T2 is equal to T1 into V1 by V2 raised to power gamma minus 1, that is T1 into R raised to power gamma minus 1, as we have done earlier also. The cutoff ratio, let us define as V3 by V2 is the cutoff ratio. This we define as rho, and if this cutoff ratio is defined as rho, then T3 by T2 will be equal to V3 by V2, being constant pressure process, that will be equal to rho, and therefore T3 will be equal to rho T2. This is T3 by T2 is equal to rho, and therefore T3 is equal to rho T2. T2 is T1 to R raised to power gamma minus 1, and therefore T3 we can write as rho into R raised to power gamma minus 1 into T1. This is T2. Substituting the value of T2 from this equation here, we get T3 in terms of T1. Then T3 T4 is isentropic expansion process, and for this isentropic expansion process we can write T4 by T3 is equal to V3 by V4 raised to power gamma minus 1, and V3 by V4 we can write as V3 by V2 into V2 by V4. V2 goes off and it remains V3 by V4. So it can be written as this raised to power gamma minus 1. Now T4 is equal to T3, T4 by T3 is equal to this, and V3 by V2, V3 by V2 is rho. This we have already defined. So this is rho V2 by V4 raised to power gamma minus 1. So we can write this as rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1, and therefore T4 will be equal to, substituting the value of T3 from this earlier equation, T3 we had calculated as this. Substitute the value of T3 from this equation to T4, we get T4 is rho R raised to power gamma minus 1 to rho raised to power gamma minus 1, rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1 into T1, or simplifying this we get T4 equal to rho raised to power gamma into T1. Substituting the values of T2, T3, T4 in terms of T1, the efficiency, this is the equation for efficiency, and in this we substitute the values of T4, T3 and T2 in terms of T1, and we get the efficiency as 1 minus 1 upon R T1 raised into rho raised to power gamma minus T1 divided by rho R raised to power gamma minus 1 T1 minus R raised to power gamma minus 1 T1. Simplifying this equation, the efficiency comes to 1 minus 1 upon gamma R raised to power gamma minus 1 into rho raised to power gamma minus 1 divided by rho minus 1. So this is the efficiency of a diesel, theoretical diesel cycle or hypothetical diesel cycle. Mean effective pressure again can be calculated in the same way. This is work done divided by piston displacement. Work done is Cp into T3 minus T2 minus Cv into T4 minus T1 divided by V1 minus V2 in terms of temperatures, and in terms of pressures and volumes, work done is area under this curve 2 3 P3 V3 minus P3 V2 P3 into V3 minus V2 plus area under this curve, that is P3 V3 minus P4 V4 divided by gamma minus 1 minus area under the curve 1 4, the negative work P1 V1 minus P2 V2 upon gamma minus 1 divided by V1 minus V2. So, mean effective pressure can be computed by this equation or this equation. So, this gives you the efficiency of a diesel cycle. Another variation or another modification on these cycles is dual cycle or limited pressure cycle. The limited pressure cycle is one in which the a part of the heat is supplied at constant volume like Otto cycle, and part of the heat is supplied at constant pressure as in diesel cycle. The compression and expansion processes are isentropic processes, and heat rejection is at constant volume. It has been shown here 1 2 is isentropic compression process, 2 3 is constant volume heat addition, 3 4 is constant pressure heat addition, 4 5 is isentropic expansion, and 5 to 1 is constant volume heat addition. It is a combination of Otto and diesel cycles, that is very clear. This is how we supply heat in Otto cycle, this is how we supply heat in diesel cycle, and in this cycle partly heat is supplied at constant volume, partly at constant pressure, and therefore it is a combination of Otto and diesel cycles. The heat addition is partly at constant volume and partly at constant pressure. The analysis has been done in the same way. Heat is supplied during process 2 3 and 3 4. So, Q in is equal to Cv into T3 minus T2 part heat addition constant volume plus Cp into T4 minus T3, that is part of heat that is supplied at constant pressure, and heat rejection is during process 5-1, and that is Cv into T5 minus T1, and therefore the net work done is the total heat supplied minus the heat out. From the first law, Q in minus Q out is the work done. So, work done is equal to Cv T3 minus T2 plus Cp T4 minus T3 minus Cv into T5 minus T1, and efficiency would be the work done divided by the heat supplied. This is the heat supplied, work done divided by the heat supplied, and that becomes efficiency is equal to 1 minus Cv T5 minus T1 divided by Cv T3 minus T2 plus Cp T4 minus T3. This equation can be further written as dividing the numerator and denominator by Cv, we get T5 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2 plus gamma into T4 minus T3. Here in this, the cutoff ratio is V4 by V3 and pressure ratio is P3 by P2. This is the cutoff ratio, P3 by this, and this is the pressure ratio, P3 by P2 is the pressure ratio, and cutoff ratio is V4 minus V3. So, this is the cutoff ratio as we have discussed in diesel engine, and this is the pressure ratio that we define rho as V4 by V3 and alpha equal to P3 by P2. Again, we can calculate the temperatures. T2 is equal to T1 into R is for gamma minus 1, we have already done it. T3 by T2 is P3 by P2, constant pressure process, this is a constant volume process, and this is equal to alpha, and therefore T3 is equal to T2 into alpha, and substituting the value of T2 from this equation, we get T3 as alpha R is for gamma minus 1 into T1. Then T4 by T3 is equal to V4 by V3, the cutoff ratio, volume cutoff, and this is equal to rho. So, T4 is equal to rho T3, and substituting the value of T3 in terms of T1, we get T4 is equal to rho alpha R is for gamma minus 1 T1. For process 5-1, T5 by T4 is equal to V4 by V5 raised to power gamma minus 1, and V4 by V5 is rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1. Substituting values V4 and V5, we get rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1, and therefore T5 is equal to rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1 into T4, that is rho by R raised to power gamma minus 1 multiplied by value of T4 that has been calculated from here. This value of T4 has been substituted here, and on simplification we get T5 is equal to alpha rho raised to power gamma into T1. Substituting the values of T2, T3, T4 and T5 in terms of T1, we get the efficiency of dual cycle as 1 minus alpha rho raised to power gamma minus 1 divided by alpha r raised to power gamma minus 1 minus r raised to power gamma minus 1 plus r into alpha rho r raised to power gamma minus 1 minus r raised to power gamma minus 1. R raised to power gamma minus 1 can be taken out. So, it becomes 1 minus a rho raised to power gamma minus 1 divided by r raised to power gamma minus 1 into alpha minus 1 plus rho gamma into rho alpha minus 1. So, this is the efficiency of the air standard efficiency of a dual cycle, and if the mean effective pressure can be calculated in the same way by calculating the work done and dividing it by the swept volume. Work done during process 3-4, work done during 3-4 is area under this curve 3-4, that is P4V4 minus P3V3. Then area under curve 4-5, that is P4V4 minus P5V5 divided by gamma minus 1 minus area under curve 1-2, that is P1V1 minus P2V2 divided by gamma minus 1. This whole thing divided by V1 minus V2 gives us mean effective pressure. In terms of temperature, this is the net work done divided by V1 minus V2, and that is the mean effective pressure of the dual cycle. Now, these three cycles we have discussed, and these cycles, they have certain deviations from each other, and which of these three cycles would be more efficient, we will have to analyze and see what is under what conditions which cycle should be made use of. Here a comparison has been made between Otto and diesel cycles, and performance of dual cycle will always lie between Otto and diesel cycles because it is a mixture of Otto and diesel cycles. So, let us compare the two Otto and diesel cycles for different conditions, and let us see which of the two cycles is more efficient. For equal compression ratio and equal heat input, which of the two cycles is more efficient has been seen here. This is the compression ratio for both the cycles. Whether it is a diesel cycle or a Otto cycle, the compression takes place from 1 to 2. At 2 in Otto cycle heat is supplied 2 to 3, and in diesel cycle it is supplied 2 to 3 at constant pressure. This is the work done and this is the heat rejected. So, here it says that heat input is equal. So, the amount of heat supplied 2 to 3 or 2 to 3 or 2 to 3 dash is the same, but heat rejected in this cycle, a diesel cycle, is more. 4 to 1 is the heat rejected. Diesel cycle heat is rejected from 4 to 1, 4 dash to 1, and in Otto cycle heat is rejected from 4 to 1. So, therefore, in Otto cycle rejection of heat is less, whereas the heat input is the same, and therefore, the Otto cycle will always be more efficient than the diesel cycle if the compression ratio and heat input are equal. That is clear. Now, if the maximum pressure is constant for the both cycles and heat input is equal, it has been shown here, the maximum pressure for both the cycles is same, T2, 3, 3 dash, they lie in the same line, and heat input is the same, that is heat supplied during process 2, 3 and 2 dash 3 dash is same. 2 dash 3 dash is the Otto cycle and this is the diesel cycle. And when the heat input is the same, we find that in Otto cycle the rate of heat rejected is more. This is the heat rejected in Otto cycle 4-1, and 4-1 is heat rejected in diesel cycle. So heat rejection is more in Otto cycle in this case, whereas the heat supplied is the same, and therefore diesel cycle would be more efficient as compared to Otto cycle when the heat input and maximum constant pressure are equal in the two cycles. Or of course dual cycle lie in between the two. And when the maximum pressure and temperature are same in the two cycles, then which of the two cycles is more efficient has been shown here. Here this is the diesel cycle 2-3-4-1, and 2-3-4-1 is the Otto cycle. In this the maximum pressure is same and temperature is same, and the heat is supplied during this process 2-3. This is the quantity of heat supplied. Heat supplied is this area on TS diagram. This is the heat supplied in diesel cycle, and this is the heat supplied in Otto cycle. This from here to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to B. This is the heat supplied in Otto cycle. So heat supplied in Otto cycle is less than the heat supplied in diesel cycle. From the areas it is very clear, whereas the heat rejected is the same in the two cycles. Heat is rejected during process 4-1. So less heat is supplied, but heat rejected is same, and therefore the work output of the Otto cycle is less than the work output of the diesel cycle if the maximum pressure and temperature are the same, and therefore in this case also diesel cycle will be more efficient than the Otto cycle. So this shows that under different operating conditions, the two cycles, the performance of two cycles differs from each other, and one has to decide which of the two cycles has to be used for a given set of conditions. Now what is the variation between the year standard cycle and the actual cycle? This is the year standard cycle shown by the dotted lines, whereas the actual cycle has been shown by this yellow color. This shows that the heat addition process in a hypothetical cycle is a constant pressure cycle, constant volume heat addition, whereas in this case ignition starts here and then ignition continues up to this point. So heat addition process starts from this point and it is completed at this point. So this is not instantaneous heat addition, but this is heat addition at varying volumes. So there is a variation in the heat addition process. Instead of a instantaneous heat addition, it takes place along this particular curve, and the heat rejection process also, it is not a constant pressure process, but heat rejection, the exhaust valve opens here and it closes somewhere here. So heat rejections moves from this point up to this particular point here. So heat rejection process is also not a constant volume process, and the charge also is changing every time. The inlet valve opens here, the air is sucked in along this particular line, and inlet valve closes at this particular point as shown here. So this is how the suction takes place. Right from this point to this point the suction takes place. This starts slightly before TDC and ends after BDC, the inlet process, and the exhaust process starts before BDC and it continues after the TDC. So this is how the cycles vary. The year standard cycle and the actual cycles, they vary, and lot of losses take place. This is the area that is being lost, this is the area that is being lost, this is the area that has been lost in actual cycle, and this additional pumping process, pumping work has to be used in taking the exhaust in and removing the exhaust, taking the suction during suction process, taking the charge in and removing the exhaust, some pumping has to be done, and that is a negative work, that is a loss in hypothetical cycle. So in actual cycle the work done is comparatively much less than the hypothetical cycle, and all these losses have to be considered in actual cycles before finding out the actual efficiency or actual performance of the cycle. So this was about the reciprocating engines. And another type of engines that are used are the rotary heat pump, rotary heat engines. And rotary heat engines, they are based on Brayton cycle or a Joule cycle. This Brayton cycle or Joule cycle is the idealized cycle for gas turbine systems. It is composed of 4 internally reversible processes, 2 isentropic and 2 constant pressure processes. 1 to 2 here, 1 to 2 it is isentropic compression in a compressor, then 2 to 3 is heat addition at constant pressure in a heat exchanger, 3 to 4 is the isentropic expansion process, and 4 to 1 heat is rejected in a heat exchanger, and constant pressure heat rejection takes place. The cycle has been shown here. 1 to 2 is constant, this isentropic compression, 2, 3 constant pressure heat addition, 3, 4 isentropic expansion, and 4 to 1 it is constant pressure heat rejection. The analysis has been done here. This is a flow process, and therefore heat supplied is equal to H3 minus H2. Heat is supplied during process 2 to 3. So this is the amount of heat supplied from 2 to 3, and this is equal to H3 minus H2, that is equal to Cp into T3 minus T2. And heat rejected in the heat exchanger is from 0.4 to 0.1, and this is equal to H4 minus H1. It has been shown here. This is the heat supplied, this is the heat rejected. So H4 minus this is the heat supplied from 2 to 3 and heat rejected during process 4-1. This is the isentropic compression, and this is the isentropic expansion process. And therefore from first law of thermodynamics, heat supplied would be work done would be equal to heat supplied minus heat rejected, Cp T3 minus T2 minus Cp T4 minus T1, and therefore efficiency would be equal to the work done divided by the heat supplied, Cp T3 minus T2 minus Cp T4 minus T1 divided Cp T3 minus T2. Cp goes off, and finally we are left with 1 minus T4 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2. This can be we can rewrite it as taking T4 out, 1 minus T4 to 1 minus T1 by T4, taking T3 out here, 1 minus T3 by T2 by T3. So efficiency is equal to this, and this can be further written as T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Using the law of isentropic expansion and gas equation, we can eliminate volume from P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2 and P1 V1 raised to power gamma equal to P2 V2 raised to power gamma. If we eliminate volumes from these two equations, we get T2 by T1 equal to P2 by P1 raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma, and this we call as pressure ratio Rp raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Similarly, T3 by T4 can be written as P3 by P4 raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma, that is Rp raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Now, as pressure ratios in the expansion and compression, they are the same, and therefore we can say that P3 by P4 is equal to P2 by P1, and therefore these two being same, we can write T3 by T4 is equal to T2 by T1. This can be rewritten as T4 by T1 equal to T3 by T2, and if we substitute these values, the efficiency would be equal to 1 minus T4 by T3 or 1 minus 1 upon Rp raised to power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Here we see the efficiency of Brayton cycle depends on the pressure ratio and ratio of specific heats of the working substance only. As in Otto cycle, it depends on the compression ratio and ratio of specific heats. Here it depends upon the pressure ratio and the specific heats of working substance. Performance of a gas turbine cycle can be improved in several ways. Here earlier we had seen that whatever is heat supplied here, heat is supplied here and it is being rejected here. The temperatures at this point are higher than temperature at this point, so some of the heat that is available here can be used to reheat the preheat the working substance before it enters the heat exchanger, and that would save the energy, and that makes the cycle a regenerative cycle, and the performance can be improved by providing this heat exchanger in this at this particular place. The compressed air passes through a heat exchanger from which the exhaust of the turbine is passing, and therefore this preheating of the compressed air takes place partly, and the heat that would have been lost to the atmosphere has been recovered in the heat exchanger. This preheated air then passes through the combustion chamber and then it expands here. So this point, this temperature T5 being higher than temperature T2, this heat that is available in the exhaust can be utilized in preheating the supply air, and heat is now required in the heat the combustion chamber from 3 to 4 only. So heat is supplied during process 3-4 rather than instead of 2-4 it is supplied from 3 to 4, and that is how when the heat supplied is reduced, the work done remaining the same, the efficiency would improve. That has been shown here. Work of compression would be T2 minus Cp into T2 minus T1. This is the work of compression. Work of turbine is Cp into T4 minus T5. Heat supplied is Cp T4 minus T3. T4 minus T3 into Cp is the heat supply, and therefore efficiency would be equal to Cp T5 minus T4 minus T5 minus Cp T2 minus T1 divided by Cp into T4 minus T3. In ideal case, we can assume that T5 is equal to T3, assuming the 100% efficiency of a regenerator. T3 will be equal to T5, and substituting this value, we get 1 minus T2 minus T1 divided by T4 minus T5. Instead of, in place of T3, we can write T5, and the efficiency equation becomes this. Another method of improving the performance is by reheating the air so that the temperature at which the heat is supplied is kept constant. From the compressor, the compressed air passes through the combustion chamber. Its temperature increases to 3. It is expanded in high pressure turbine, and when it expands in the high pressure turbine up to 0.4, its temperature reduces. It passes again through the combustion chamber where some heat is added from 4 to 5, and then it expands from 5 to 6, and then heat is rejected or it is exhausted. Thus we find that if it would have been a normal cycle, the expansion would have carried along this expansion process. Now because of reheating, the expansion, reheating takes place, then expansion takes place, and this area, the colored area, is the extra work that we can achieve because of reheating. Here we have supplied certain additional heat, and because of that additional heat, this is the area, extra area that is available. This is the extra work that is available from the because of the reheat in the two-stage expansion process. Though the heat rejection also increases from 6 to 7. Earlier it was from this point to this point, now it is from 6 to 5. But because heat is supplied at a higher temperature now, the efficiency of the open cycle with reheat would be slightly better than the efficiency of a simple cycle, and per unit mass of the working fluid, this much extra amount of work would be available. The capacity of the plant will increase and the efficiency may also increase because of reheating that is being provided here in this particular cycle. Another way of this has been analyzed and a mathematical derivation has been made. The work of compression is Cp into T2 minus T1. Work of turbine is now Cp into T3, this is T3 minus T4 plus Cp into T5 minus T6, and net work done would be work of turbine minus work of compression, that is Cp T3 minus T4 plus Cp into T5 minus T6 minus Cp into T2 minus T1. This divided by the heat supplied is during process 2, 3 and 4, 5. So, heat supplied is Cp into T3 minus T2 plus Cp into T5 minus T5, and therefore efficiency would be the net work done as written here divided by the net heat supplied that has been shown here, and this by this we can find out the efficiency of is gas turbine cycle with reheat in between the expansion stages. Then another method of improving the performance is using intercooling in between the compression stages. This is the low pressure compressor, this is the high pressure compressor, and in between the compressors, if the air is cooled, intercooled, then because of this intercooling, the net work output of the system will increase and the net efficiency of the cycle will also increase. It has been shown here. 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression in low pressure compressor, 2 to 3 is intercooling in the intercooler, 3 to 4 again it is isentropic compression in high pressure compressor, and then 4 to 5 heat is supplied in the combustion chamber, 5 to 6 expansion takes place in the turbine, and 6 to 1 again the heat rejection takes place to the initial state. So, here we find that because if it would have been a normal simple cycle, the compression process would be along this line and the cycle would have completed like this. Now, because of intercooling, this is the additional saving that we are doing in high pressure compressor. In high pressure compressor, this much less amount of work is required to be done, and if we are doing less work in the high pressure compressor, the net output of the cycle would increase, whereas the input of the cycle remaining the same, and therefore the efficiency of the cycle will increase because of intercooling in between the stages. That has been analyzed here in this particular case. Work of compressor would be Cp into T2 minus T1 plus Cp into T4 minus T3, whereas work of turbine is Cp into T5 minus T6, and therefore net work done is Cp T5 minus T6 minus Cp into T2 minus T1 minus Cp into T4 minus T3. Heat supplied is equal to Cp into T4 minus T5, T4 minus T5. Therefore, the efficiency would be given by this particular equation, that is the net work done divided by the net amount of heat supplied, and this would be as we find the net work done has increased with the same amount of heat rejected, and therefore the efficiency would improve in this particular case because of intercooling in between the stages. The two parameters can be mixed together, and if we join intercooling and reheating, the cycle becomes something like this. This is low pressure compressor, high pressure compressor, high pressure turbine, low pressure turbine, and in between low pressure turbine, low pressure compressor and high pressure compressor, there is an intercooler here, and in between high pressure turbine and low pressure turbine, there is a reheater provided here, and because of this reheater and intercooler, the cycle becomes 1 to 2 isentropic compression in LP compressor, 2 to 3 is intercooling in the intercooler, 3 to 4 isentropic compression in high pressure compressor. 4 to 6 it is 4 to 5 it is 4 to 5 it is regeneration. Here it has been shown 4 to 5 regeneration takes place. 5 to 6 heat is added in the combustion chamber. 6 to 7 the expansion takes place in high pressure turbine. 7 to 8 it is reheat combustion chamber, and 7 to 8 is heating. 8 to 9 is expansion in low pressure turbine, and 9 to 10 it is recovery of heat in the heat exchanger, and at 10 the gas is exhausted to the atmosphere. And that shows us that this is the work that has been saved because of the intercooler. This is the extra work that we get out of the reheat process, and because of this the net area of the TS diagram increases by this pink as well as yellow area, and the net output of the cycle per kg would be much more as compared to simple cycle, and the efficiency would be better. And that efficiency has been computed. Work of compressors, the LP and HP compressors, work of turbine, the high pressure turbine and low pressure turbine, and the total work done is sum of the difference of this WT minus WC. This is the net work done. Heat supplied is equal to from 5 to 6 and 7 to 8. Cp into T8 minus T7 plus Cp into T6 minus T5, and therefore the net efficiency would be this. So that shows that if we increase the stages of intercooling and reheating, the efficiency improves, and if larger number of stages are incorporated in the system, the efficiency would further increase. If the number of stages, instead of 1 each, we have 2 or 3 stages for intercooling and 2-3 stages for reheat, the efficiency would be much higher, and it would approach somewhere near Carnot cycle efficiency if larger number of stages are provided in the Brayton cycle for reheat and intercooling, and that would make the system very efficient and power saving. So that is what is being done in the industry nowadays, and the performance of the gas turbine cycles with intercooling and regeneration and reheat is comparatively very high, and they are being used extensively for generation of power in the power sector. Thank you.